Here's how mastering human psychology can 10x your income. In university, I actually studied to become a psychologist. Now, as a psychologist, we were taught that every human being, stay with me here, every human being has belief systems. Would we be right? Right? Or a way of thinking. That is called a frame, okay? So your belief system primarily comes from when you were a child, from ages of like 4 till about ages 13. So who your parents were that were raising you, maybe the religion you went to, or maybe who your friends were that you hung out with. Like maybe even if you're a kid now, you're influenced by who you follow on TikTok, right? And they influence your way of thinking or your world view, right? So belief systems. What is one belief system that you have every time a salesperson starts talking to you? Would it be, how much is this gonna cost? Now, the question is, why do you have that belief system? It's because society has instilled that into your mind, right? Because you see billboards trying to sell you something. You're on social media, you see ads trying to sell you something. You turn on the TV, the radio, you're always being sold to all of the time, okay? So because of that, you and your prospects have built up defensive mechanisms in your mind. Okay, we call these frames as a psychologist, that anytime you feel like you're being sold to, your guard goes up. Okay, you with me on this? Now, you want to learn how to help your prospects overcome that frame or way of thinking, otherwise you're going to get a lot of objections at the end of the conversation or conversations. So how do I take them out of their belief systems or current way of thinking? It could be, I need to talk with my spouse before I make a decision. I always do more research before I decide. I need to, talk to other decision makers in the company before I can do this. So those are belief systems. So that's called a frame, okay, belief system. So the question is, how do I take them out of that belief system, that way of thinking? That is called a deframe. Write that down, deframe. So that's deframe. And then how do I reframe them? If you've ever heard of reframing, that is the process. How do I reframe them into a new belief system or a new way of thinking? Are you with me on that? So how do I, in that example, if every human being, every prospect you talk to has a belief system of how much is this going to cost me, and that's all they're thinking about while you're talking to them, what do you think typically is going to happen at the end? They're going to say, it's too expensive. Your price is too high. Can you give me a discount? Or I can't afford it. That's what they're going to say all the time, even if they can't afford it, right? It's not like the money doesn't exist. See, they're already spending that money on something else that in their mind at that point is more of a priority than what you are offering them, your solution. So how do you take them out of that, here's the priority, what I'm spending the money on, and switch them over to your solution is now the number one priority where they want to shift that money over to you. With me on that, okay? With human psychology, you have to understand this. Every question that you ask has to do one of three things. If you want to get into, like I'm talking the top 1% of your industry or higher with how many sales you're making, the questions you have to ask them have to trigger some type of doubt in their mind that what they currently have, or maybe what they don't have, depending on what you sell, you're going to trigger doubt in their mind that maybe what they're doing or what they have is not so good. Because if you can't get them to doubt that, it's going to be hard for them to become open to what you're offering, okay? So every question has to start seeding that doubt, or a lot of your questions. Your questions also have to help prevent objections from happening in their mind. So let's say if you sell to consumers, what's one belief system? I need to what? Talk with my spouse before I make a decision, okay? Let's say you're selling to a real estate agent, you sell for a marketing agency, and you're trying to help that real estate agent get better leads to get more listings, right? Which would also affect their spouse, because if they get less listings, they make less money. So let's say that real estate agent, let's say his name's Dan, says, I'm only getting 2 listings a month, but he wants to have 5 listings a month. So then I might say, so how does your spouse feel about you only getting 2 listings a month? See, how do they feel about the what? The problem, right? And oh, she doesn't like it. Does she want you to get up to 5 listings a month so you guys can make more money? Oh, for sure she would want that, right? So see how I'm starting to prevent the what? The spouse objection. That's a pre-frame, okay? There's other things I have to do, but that's what I'm doing, all right? Now, also my questions that I ask also have to be built to not only help them here and here feel the pain of their current situation and have a fear of continuous pain or a fear of future pain, but they also have to be built where they actually can see an end out. Okay, some people call that future pacing. Like, what does the future look like once the newfound problems are solved? Okay, are you with me on that? So the questions have to be designed to do these three things over and over again.